think it's fair to say best defensive effort of the season so far for you guys. What stood out to you on that end of the floor?
Our activity, what did we force? 25 turnovers. We're getting our hands on a lot of balls, deflections, aggressive. Obviously our two big guys were great. When they're that good at the rim, we're tough to beat. Stellar defensive effort.
Does Donovan Mitchell get enough credit for how good he is?
No, I think he's underrated. First team All NBA. I don't know why people don't talk about him more. Probably because he's no controversy, low key, humble. Does that equal you get underrated because of the personality? I don't know.
Sam obviously exited with the hip injury. Is he okay?
Ooh, he's hurting. He's hurting. When Sam can't come back in the game, it's I think Evan actually hit him like in the hip. I think somehow they looks like a hip pointer. So those are painful. So we'll see how everybody's hurting right now.
And then just going to Dre, second game back, looks like you had him bringing up the ball quite a bit there in the first quarter. Had a lot of initiating going on. Hit Jay in the pocket or for the high hand off there to start the game.
Yeah, I want to get him more touches. Especially with DG out, can't be Don all the time. Can't be Evan. He's got to be our second or third scorer and creator, and he's really good on the DHOs. When you get him in on the DHO, he gets downhill. He's got a big body, can shoot the pull up but yeah, that was intentional, trying to get him involved early.
Karen?
What do you think of Jarrett and some of that physicality tonight?
Those bigs give us trouble, as you well know, because they're so physical, they're so strong, they're such good rebounders. I don't know how many times we told them today, scouting, pregame, that the rebounding was going to be the key to the game, and we had to keep them off, and we had to keep our composure against those big guys. We had to meet their force, and really great. Jay was great, but like I said, I thought our two bigs were phenomenal on the boards, and then resisting their two really good bigs.
Kenny, when the first quarter was at about the 4-minute mark to about the 5-minute mark of the second quarter, you guys didn't allow, or might have allowed one field goal from the Detroit Pistons. In that stretch, you guys had a lot of the role players, the rotation players, and what did you see from that?
So Ethan, you're so right. The first 6 minutes, we couldn't stop them. And then we sub and we bring in Jalen and CP. And I thought they changed the game. Hopefully I'm not overstating it, but their pressure, Jalen started picking up Cade full court. We started getting more activity, got a couple of steals, but I thought those two switched the game, and that's the role we're really shifting them to. You have to be that high intensity defensive pests. And they're buying into the role.
DeAndre had 6 assists. That's a career high for him. We talked about
really?
his creation, nice. But also he was guarding Cade at the beginning of the game to start. He had probably one of the worst performances against the Cavs that he's had in a while. What did you see just from DeAndre overall tonight?
Those type of players are really good matchups for Dre. Those big guard, wing, 6'7" guys that can, they're not. Dre's so strong, you can't just hit him and get separation. So that was a good matchup. But you obviously had help. We got those two big guys behind them, but I thought it was really good defensively. Good point.
Anything else, Merrill?
Just looking at the jumbo lineup that you've been setting out there the last few games, what do you like about, I think it's Dre, Dean, Larry, and Evan, and then it's either CP or Lonzo with them. It just seems like such a unique lineup.
Yeah, I'm just praying we can score with that line. It just the spacing sometimes when you got four big guys, and I do feel right now that we got to lean into our defense. until we're, we get DG back and Max back, and lean into our defense more. And offense, we're gonna have to live with some lineups that aren't perfect, but lean into better defensive lineups.
And speaking of that defense, a lot of fouls coming, but it's also aggressive, good fouls. I'm sure from your point of view, Jalen in particular, picking up some of these. You're okay with those,
Fine
right?
with it.
Yeah.
Just not the, opening night fouling 4 3-point shooters. That those we're not fine with. There's a trade-off, right? When you're picking up higher and you're more physical, there's a trade-off. We're gonna have some games where we, give up a decent amount of free throws, but we're willing to live with it.
Last two, Ethan and then Danny.
Kenny, there was a point in the game where Donovan had made a three-pointer after maybe Dean passed up a shot, and you were not happy. What was that reaction?
Wait, say it again. What happened?
Donovan hit a three,
Yeah.
and they enforced a timeout, and you were not happy when they came to the bench.
Yeah, I wonder what happened there. Probably, we're trying to get our role players to roll, playing the half roll, and they keep popping, and it's driving me crazy. Dean had one later in the game. He rolled and got it and then threw it out to Don, and I celebrated. So I'm going to focus on the positive. When I celebrated something we did well, rather than negative. But I can't remember exactly what happened on that play.
Was that the one where you had your hands up? That's
I
when
was
you said
so
you're
happy.
celebrating?
Dean
Okay.
Wade wrote, "You're 6'10" in the pocket."
Mhm.
And I said, "You're such a good, you're a good passer," and he always, I think he's a foreman or just used to popping all the time. And we just want to Pierce, I was talking before the game, Pierce to paint more. We're not getting enough paint touches, but he's probably 99% pop, 1% roll right now. So we're going to try to change that narrative.
Last one, Danny.
Seems like he's also been cutting to the paint away from the basketball a little bit more frequently this year than he had in the past. What does that bring to you guys?
Yeah, he's a really good cutter. That's especially from that slot. We drive the slot, and he cuts the slot really good. And he's such a, he's like he's a Travis Kelce body, right? He's 6'10" across the middle. He's like a tight end. So easy target to hit. We want him to continue to cut a lot.